Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the change of command ceremony for the Royal Canadian Air Force Wing Commander William G. Barker, VC Aerospace College. Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à la cérémonie de passation de commandement du Collège de l'Aérospatiale Lieutenant-Colonel William J. Barker, VC de l'Aviation Royale Canadienne. I am Major Corey Lee, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's events as we wish a fond farewell to the RCAF Barker College's Commandant, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Ash, and we welcome Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Kasterkoff as he assumes command. While some of the audience is attending virtually today, I wish to acknowledge that this ceremony is being conducted on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. RCF Barker College is named after Wing Commander William G. Barker, VC, the most decorated war hero in the history of Canada, the British Empire, and the Commonwealth of Nations. William Barker was a recipient of the Victoria Cross, a 2-time recipient of the Distinguished Service Order, a 3-time recipient of the Military Cross, a 2-time recipient of the Italian Silver Medal of Military Valor, and was a recipient of the French Croix de Guerre. He was born in a log cabin in Manitoba and entered the Great War as a soldier. He soon joined the Royal Flying Corps, first as an observer, then as a pilot, and rose in rank and fame. He became so skilled that during his last 12 months of combat, not one pilot under his command or aircraft under his escort was lost to the enemy. By war's end, he downed 50 enemy aircraft. His fellow ace, William Avery Bishop, VC, would call him the deadliest air fighter who ever lived. After he died in an aviation accident, his state funeral was the largest ever held in the history of Toronto. Now I will read the biographies of the presiding officer for the ceremony, the 17 Wing Commander Colonel Dave Proto, the outgoing Barker College Commandant, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Ash, and the incoming Barker College Commandant, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Kasterkoff. Presiding officer and 17 Wing Commander, Colonel Proto. Colonel Proto was born in Forestville, Quebec. He joined the Canadian Forces in June 1987 and studied at the Collège Militaire Royal de Saint-Jean, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree. Upon graduation in the summer of 1992, Colonel Proto attended the Canadian Forces Air Navigator School, CFANS, where he earned his Air Navigator wings in June 1993. Colonel Proto was then posted to Comox, BC, where he flew on the CP-140 Aurora, first as an acoustic sensor operator, then as a tactical navigator. In September 1998, Colonel Proto was posted back to CFANS, where he instructed officer development and tactics. He was posted to 17 Wing in 2001 and worked as the executive assistant to the Wing Commander for a period of 2 years before being transferred to 405 Squadron in Greenwood in the spring of 2003 to start his second operational flying tour on the CP-140 Aurora. From 2003 to 2005, he worked as a lead navigator on crew and participated in many anti-submarine exercises and operational missions. After his promotion to Major in June 2005, he was posted to the Canadian Forces School of Survival and Aeromedical Training as a Commandant. Following his first command appointment, he returned to CFANS, now 1 CFF-TS, as Flight Commander and subsequently deployed to Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan, where he worked as the Deputy J5 Plans for a period of 7 months. Upon his return from Afghanistan, he attended the Canadian Forces College, where he earned a master's degree in Defence Studies, graduating in the summer of 2011. He was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel in June 2011 and moved back to Winnipeg to work at 1 Canadian Air Division as the A3 UAV for 1 year, followed by an appointment as the Deputy Director Fleet Readiness, until his appointment as the Commanding Officer of 404 Squadron in the summer of 2013. Following his latest command appointment, he was given the unique opportunity to represent Canada in a diplomatic capacity as the Assistant Air Attaché at the Canadian Embassy in Washington, D.C. He was promoted to his current rank in July 2016 and took over as the Deputy Commander of the National Cadet and Canadian Junior Ranger Support Group in Ottawa. He was subsequently posted to Winnipeg in the summer of 2017, where he held the position of CAOC Director for 3 years. On July 30th, 2020, Colonel Proto was bestowed the great privilege to assume command of Canadian Forces Base Winnipeg and 17 Wing Winnipeg. He is married to Lindsay Proto, and they have 2 children, Amelia and Benjamin. Outgoing Commandant Barker College, Lieutenant Colonel Ash. Lieutenant Colonel Scott Ash began his military career in 1997 in Winnipeg, Manitoba. His first posting was to CFB Esquimalt as a supply technician. He was commissioned in 2002 and shortly after completed a Bachelor of Science at Brandon University. Upon completion of logistics officer training, he was employed on OJT at 1 Air Movement Squadron, was the administration officer for the Canadian Forces School of Survival and Aeromedical Training, and had held the position of Wing Deputy Personnel Services Officer at 17 Wing, Winnipeg. Lieutenant Colonel Ash has held several positions at the operational level within 1 Canadian Air Division HQ, including Director of Air Force Expeditionary Capability, a Canadian Air Operations Centre Mission Support Officer, A1 Management, A7 and Deputy A5, A7 Continental and Expeditionary Operations. During his time in these various positions, he was recognized with command commendations from the Commander of the Canadian Joint Operations Command, as well as the Commander of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Ash deployed in 1999 as a member of the HMCS Protector during the peacekeeping mission to East Timor, Op Toucan. In 2009, he deployed as the J1 personnel and Canadian Element Adjutant within Commander Kandahar Airfield Headquarters within Op Athena. In 2021, Lieutenant Colonel Ash completed an occupational transfer to the newly formed Air Operations Officer occupation, where he assumed the role of the first occupational advisor. In addition to a Bachelor of Science, Lieutenant Colonel Ash holds a Master's of Public Administration from the University of Winnipeg, a Master's Certificate in Project Management from York University, and is a graduate of the Joint Command and Staff Program at Canadian Forces College, Toronto. In his spare time, he and his family enjoy their cabin, playing golf and tennis. Repeatedly training their stubborn but overall good dog Stella also consumes much of his spare time. He is married to Major Retired Jennifer Ash and has 2 children, Elliot and Carson. Incoming RCF Barker College Commandant, Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Kasterkoff was born and raised in the suburbs of Vancouver, BC, and then completed an Honours Bachelor of Science in Physics and Computer Science from the University of Toronto prior to joining the Royal Canadian Air Force as a pilot in 2004. After receiving his pilot wings in 2007, he was selected as a pipeline fighter pilot on the CF-188 Hornet, receiving the call sign Beef, and started his gun squadron tour early in 2009. During this tour, Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff held NORAD alert in Cold Lake, the West Coast, and in the Arctic. He also flew combat air patrols over his hometown as part of Op Podium support to the Vancouver Olympics before completing an 8-month air liaison deployment with the Royal 22e Régiment Battle Group in Kandahar, Afghanistan as part of Op Athena. Subsequent tours include 4-wing operations as a combat operations officer with a focus on NORAD operations in the Arctic, promotion to major in 2014, and a flying instructor supervisor tour at 419 Squadron on the CT-155 Hawk, and then as a training, then operations officer, followed by 2 years as a deputy commanding officer. In 2018, he was posted to 1 Canadian Air Division HQ in Winnipeg. In 2019, he was promoted to his current rank as a Senior Staff Officer Fighters, then in 2020 assigned to be the Deputy Director Fleet Readiness prior to his appointment to command Barker College in 2021. Professional development has been a keen interest throughout his career, including completing a 2013 distance learning Masters of Aeronautical Science with a specialization in space science from Embry-Riddle, a 2020 DL Joint Command and Staff Program grad, and numerous smaller courses in between. Since 2015, Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff has also been fortunate to have multiple articles published in the RCAF Journal, the Canadian Military Journal, and an article by the Rocks and Forum publication. Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff married his Winnipeg native wife, Stasa, a pediatric intensive care physician, during the first year of the pandemic. They are both delighted for the opportunity to work with the personnel of Barker College to shape and execute the professional development programs of the RCAF. Everyone, please stand for the playing of our national anthem. Veuillez-vous lever pour l'interprétation de notre hymne national. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. Lieutenant Colonel Ash will now address the audience and the members of the RCAF Barker College one final time as our Commandant. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Corey. Colonel Proto, Honorary Colonel Wiebe, Lieutenant Colonel Kastrikov, Dr. Stasa Varoukas, Chief Warrant Officer Fauché, the Barker family, distinguished guests joining us online, family, friends, colleagues, bonjour, bienvenue à tous. Je vous remercie de nous joindre ici aujourd'hui. So I know it can be imposing when the outgoing Commandant brings up a 7-page speech and pulls out his reading glasses. I know that that is a bit off-putting, but what I will say is it's double-spaced, so we're going to work through this very quickly. But it's fantastic. After 16 months of being in a COVID-19 impacted environment, it is absolutely fantastic to be here in the room with some of the Barker College team and the leadership of 17 Wing. So I'm thrilled to be here today. Thanks very much. The last 2 years has provided unprecedented challenges for the people of the RCAF Barker College. The COVID-19 pandemic was but one of the changing environmental factors that Barker College team had to contend with. Additionally, we are taking concerted efforts to change our culture and our climate in the Canadian Armed Forces, and this change was and still is very much needed in order to ensure that every person in the Canadian Armed Forces and Department of National Defence has the opportunity to self-actualize and be the best persons of themselves. Barker College remains in a unique position to play a key role in this. Each Air Force officer passes through the doors of Barker College once, at least once, in their career. And working closely with our 2 Canadian Air Division and 17 Wing partners, we are orienting on this needed change in order to do our part to help execute it. Lastly, we are continuing to scan the future and ensuring the RCF will have relevant, effective people with the right skills at the right time who are ready for conflicts of today as well as tomorrow. The people of Barker College have not shied away from these challenges, but instead faced them head-on over the last 2 years as a unified team. It has been truly my honour and privilege to be part of the Barker College and 17 Wing teams during this time in history. I'll now take the opportunity to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Kastrikov to the RCAF Barker College. Congratulations on assuming your role as Commandant. In the short time that I have known you through our handover as well as our interactions teaching students on AFOD 5, I know you to be an officer with integrity and character, one with unwavering dedication to people and serving Canadians. You are assuming a command of a unit that cares about its people as well as its mandate. Barker College is fortunate to have an officer of your caliber joining the team, and I'm positive the people you will work with over the next 2 years will greatly benefit from your leadership and guidance, Ryan. To Stasa, Kalu Sifete, to the Barker College family, I'm sorry if my Greek pronunciation didn't do it justice, but thank you for your support of Ryan during this exciting but demanding time in his career. To the command teams of 2 Canadian Air Division and 17 Wing, thank you for your trust, your support, your guidance, mentorship, and at times, patience. All of the above have been sincerely appreciated. To the command teams, units, and various organizations that support the people at 17 Wing, we've walked a lot of ground together. For the last 16 months, we've broken that ground. Balancing safety and operational necessity. I have learned more from you than I can articulate in this short speech, but I'm appreciative of the collaboration and mutual support for our collective mission. Thank you for your support, dedication, and friendship. One of the specialty roles I've had the privilege of holding while in command was to be the champion of the 17 Wing Defence Team Pride Advisory Organization. This was a transformative experience for me. Your courage and dedication to the people who identify within the LGBTQ2+ community within the defence team has been inspiring to me and many others. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the momentum you're creating, and mostly, thank you for allowing me to be a part of that. Before I talk about the entirety of Barker College, I want to specifically discuss the SWOs I've had the privilege of serving with. Master Warrant Officer Steve Bodner and Master Warrant Officer Clayton Ems. During our time together in each respective command team, I have sincerely appreciated your advice, your expertise about people, and your passion about the Barker College mission. We have all collectively benefited from your leadership. Thank you. Barker College, I cannot mention each of you by name along with the significant accomplishments that you respectively have made to the RCAF during my time at Barker College. And besides, this is a team sport. So we need every member of the team, including support from 17 Wing at large, to execute our mission. Instead, I plan to talk about what we are collectively demonstrated during the time while I was in command, and that we have done that together. First, we have been passionate, professional, and most of all effective in delivering our mandate. We have found a way to meet the challenges that faced us. You should be proud of that. You should be proud of that and all that we have achieved. I certainly am. Secondly, as Canadian Marshall McLuhan first coined the phrase, the medium is the message. With residential training no longer being feasible in the COVID-impacted environment, we transformed to virtual delivery. It was hard. There's no glossing over that. It was a hard feat to accomplish. It required initiative, innovation. It was enabled through mission command, trust, and a culture of sharing our lessons learned. And we succeeded through teamwork. We succeeded through teamwork. And you continue to improve those products still to this day. We demonstrated that the output of Barker College transcends the walls of Building 84 and Hangar 16 on 17 Wing Winnipeg. So the medium was virtual training, but the message is that the people of Barker College and 17 Wing will improvise and adapt in order to continue to deliver world-class training and education to the women and men, the Royal Canadian Air Force and Canadian Armed Forces. Thirdly, we created the Air Operations Ab Initio course. We are progressing on pace with development. This is a unique point of pride for me, as I'm the first Air Operations Officer to command our training establishment. We pulled every handle in this machine to leverage the resources needed for the creation of this course. Barker College will begin to generate a new type of officer within the Air Operations Group of the Royal Canadian Air Force, and it will begin on the 8th of November of this year, thanks to your efforts. I will be anxiously awaiting for my invitation for that graduation, Ryan. Lastly, we're demonstrating we're the willingness to take on deliberate action to change our culture and climate in the Canadian Armed Forces. There's much more to do, but I'm heartened by the amount of people that recognize the need and are willing to do the hard work to change it, your new Commandant included. Change takes courage, but I can definitely say that I've seen no lack of courage in this unit. To the team at Barker College, thank you for welcoming me and my family into this unit. Thank you for your efforts, your leadership, and your friendship. I will be forever changed by my time in Barker College. In closing, there's one more group of people that I would like to thank. To all of us, this year has reminded us just how much our family and friends bring meaning and context to our lives. To the families and friends of those individuals working in Barker College, thank you. Thank you sincerely for your support of your loved ones, especially during the last 16 months. To my extended family, I want to say thank you. Mom, Dad, Steve, Maureen, brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews from both sides of the family, thank you for your love and support. It has made a difference for me personally. To my friends, both in uniform and out, thank you for your support, your guidance, and your friendship. And lastly, but certainly not least, to my family, to Jenny, Carson, Ellie, thank you for your love and support. This pandemic has been challenging, but I believe we are now closer than we have ever been. Our adventure continues, but know that I couldn't do what I do without you. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would ask Major Croker to come forward to say a few words and present Lieutenant Colonel Ash with a parting gift from the college.
It's a last-minute memorization of my speech, so if I don't do it, sorry. Sirs, colleagues, guests joining us online. When I first found out I was posted to Barker College from Tucat headquarters, I was genuinely happy because at the time, the Commandant had just been announced as being Lieutenant Colonel Scott Ash. And I was reminiscing over some past memories, past experiences of previous tours with a fellow colleague at the headquarters, and he laughed. He laughed at me. He said, "You enjoy that because Scott Ash is a bit of a workaholic." I chuckled because, well, it's true. But also it isn't. You see, Colonel Ash, at work, you labor tirelessly to make sure that everyone around you is well cared for. You make sure that your decisions are fair and that everybody has a chance to be heard. Collaboration and ensuring that people around you with differing views are fundamental to your success, and it works brilliantly. At home, you engage in the community with the same level of zeal. I think you're on, 3 different boards of directors in the community. And also, your family support, your family is always number one with you, with your support and encouragement as they grow academically, as they change paths professionally. So it's incredible. Plus, from your biography, all the additional professional development that you do for yourself and all your side projects on the side. So yes, you are a bit of a workaholic, but not that that's a bad thing. Surrey, this command has been unique. A lot of challenge spaces for you. Adding courses to a resource-strapped school, rationalizing the existence and delivery of other courses, and all capped off within a COVID-impacted environment. These challenges, so it's no wonder that you and Jen and the kids seek solitude by running off to your cabin up on the shores of Lake Winnipeg to relax, clear your mind so that you can come back and keep being the leader that we need. And I also hear that you sometimes enjoy a wee dram scotch while you're up there. Sometimes. Sir, you are a great leader, a mentor, and above all, a great friend. And it's with great pleasure that on behalf of the entirety of the staff of Barker College, that I have the opportunity to present to you a departure gift handmade by members of our staff for you to remember your time with us. I'm going to unwrap it because it's big. It's heavy.
Do you want me to take one?
That is amazing.
So, sir,
You take after that.
yeah. On behalf of all the staff and students and the members of the Barker College team, thank you very much for your leadership and your service to our school. And best of luck at your next posting.
Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate it. This is lovely, and it'll certainly find a place in our house or cottage, and I'll treasure it. Thank you very much.
Can you actually, sorry, sir, can you just hold the camera for a second?
Yeah, it's not heavy at all, sure. Okay.
And we're good, thank you.
Comes pre-stocked with your first round.
That is fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Major Croker. The job of Commandant of the RCAF Barker College is a demanding one, and this is made possible by the support of their family. Major Croker will now present Major Retired Jennifer Ash with a gift from the Barker College family for all of her support over the past 2 years, with Lieutenant Colonel Ash accepting on her behalf.
So I'm a poor substitute for my wife, Jennifer Ash, but what I will say is, so as she's working through her way through her period, a 14-day period after second vaccination, couldn't be with us here today. She passed her regrets and sincerely wish she could have been here to see and be present on the stage. She's watching online, and so I received these on her behalf and sincerely thank you for that gesture and gift. Thank you very much.
Also, Major Croker will now present a gift to Dr. Stasa Varukis to welcome her to the Barker College family, with Lieutenant Colonel Kastrikov accepting on her behalf due to COVID-19 measures. Thank you, Major Croker. At this time, Colonel Proto, Lieutenant Colonel Ash, and Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff will change command certificates, which formalizes the transfer of command of the college.
Okay, one more.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff. Maintenant, j'invite Colonel Proto, commandant de la 17e escadre, de venir s'adresser à l'Assemblée. Colonel Proto will now come say a few words.
Two pages, not 7. Font 14, so it'll be quick. Because it's not about me, it's about these two fine officers. Distinguished guests, Honorary Colonel Wiebe, family and friends of Lieutenant Colonel Ash, Jen, Elliot, and Carson watching from home, family and friends of Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff, Dr. Varoukas, members of Barker College, and all of you joining us virtually. What a tremendous day to celebrate two outstanding RCAF officers. Both Lieutenant Colonels Ash and Kasterkoff are some of the finest leaders I've ever had the pleasure to work with. To celebrate Barker College's change of command by transferring the responsibility of leading this outstanding unit from one to the other is a very unique and enviable position to be in. On one hand, we say farewell to Scott, who in his tenure has spearheaded a wave of change never seen before at this learning institution. His genuine care for the members of Barker College has not only ensured that our most precious assets, our people, were very well taken care of, but he did so while prioritizing the mandate and ensuring that efforts were directed in the right areas. His institutional courage and engagement with all levels of leadership to delay, reprioritize, refocus, or sometimes even having to cancel courses under the school's mandate were well justified, perfectly articulated, and validated. His genuine concern for the well-being of his people allowed for both Brigadier General O'Reilly and I to trust his recommendations implicitly and approve his suggestions without blinking. Lieutenant Colonel Ash leaves Barker College in a much better state moving forward, and we should all be extremely proud of his achievements. From the virtualization of AFOD 5, setting the stage for success for the Operations Occupation course, and enabling a multi-element development of the joint UOS program, he truly excelled and over-delivered on all fronts. Although he deserves most of the credit for the splendid successes of Barker College, we all know that success doesn't happen in isolation. The Barker College team is exceptional, and they enable Scott to flourish in his role. Furthermore, it goes without saying that Scott's family of Jen, Elliot, and Carson had a tremendous part to play in his successes. I can only say a humble thank you to the three of you for allowing Scott to be the leader that he is today. Scott, I wish you well in your next post as a Chief of Staff at 2CAD as we continue to work together to make 17 Wing, the RCAF, and the Canadian Armed Forces a better place. Thank you. Ryan, these are some big shoes you're about to fill, but knowing you from our time at 1CAD together, I rest easy knowing that you're the perfect officer for this challenging role. From your experience as SSO fighter to the very demanding position of Deputy Director of Fleet Readiness, I know how busy you were over the last few years and that you're accustomed to the challenges that will come with this new role. Your calm, your poise, and utmost professionalisms are asset that will serve you well as you embark on this new venture. You and I will have many discussions over the next year, and I know that you will take Barker College to new heights and care for your people along the way. We need this to remain our priority. I'm glad that you chose to stay in Winnipeg and that the RCAF was able to reward you with this splendid opportunity. We're all winners in this transaction. Know that I'm in your corner and that I will support you and the Barker College team every step of the way. To the Barker College family, please continue to support your new commander in the very same way you empowered your outgoing leader. You are Barker College. Your work and dedication never ceases to amaze us. And I know you'll take care of Lieutenant Colonel Kastrikov, that you'll take him under your wings and continue to soar to new heights. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now I would ask Colonel Proto, Lieutenant Colonel Ash, and Lieutenant Colonel Kastrikov to come forward for a presentation.
I won't use a mic for this. I'm going to say a few words before we do it. So I tried, as I took command, we had just been renamed Barker College for about a year. And in that new recognition of Barker College, we need to work on how we transfer command, what are our symbols, and how do we recognize the efforts of the people that work at Barker College? It's important. And so Jen and I, we engaged, we thought, and we came up with a concept of having a symbol, a physical manifestation of the efforts for the people at Barker College and their efforts and how they contribute to the readiness of the Air Force for all people in Canada. And so we worked with a small company in Montreal and had a ceremonial mace built for Barker College. So this is our gift from my wife Jennifer and I to Barker College. We used for the change of command, kind of moving forward for Barker College. So as much as I'm happy to give it, I'm going to pass it over to my boss.
Ryan, you're now entrusted with the ringing for Barker College. I think that Carol will serve you well.
Sorry, can I just get one more of you, President? Thank you, sir.
At this time, I would invite the Commandant of RCF Barker College, Lieutenant Colonel Kastrikov, to come forward and say a few words.
Good morning. Members of Barker College, Colonel Proto, Honored Colonel Wiebe, Chief Fauché, the Barker family, distinguished guests joining us online, family, friends, and colleagues. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to command Barker College. I understand how rare the opportunity is to command a unit, and I very much appreciate the trust that the leaders of the RCAF have placed in me. It is not a simple time to be in the RCAF or in a leadership role. There are problems that have been building for generations that are now reaching a breaking point, and we're seeing the cracks in the foundations of our culture. These cracks, however, give us the opportunity to rebuild. I trust my chain of command, and I trust that they're doing everything they can to evolve 17 Wing, 2CAD, and the RCAF. I also believe that they don't have all the answers, that they cannot have all the answers, because many of the answers are going to have to come from us. Unit leadership is the last time in your career where it is practical to have a day-to-day interaction with all of the people under your command. This, therefore, is the key terrain for any large shifts in the military culture. Barker College is a cultural keystone to the RCAF. Our span of control may be limited, but our span of influence is arguably the most expansive of any single Air Force unit. This means that RCAF Barker College is a leverage point for cultural change across the RCAF and across the generations. We manage the details of how we teach our officers to approach people and problems. Over the last 2 years, I've been working with a small but growing team to build a model of the RCAF and model the complex interactions that define our successes and failures. While studying this model, we found that Barker College emerged as a nexus point. On the technical side, EW, space, and modeling and simulation give us access to keen minds who will evolve the RCF's understanding and acceptance of technology moving forward. We can engage them with complex and holistic ecosystem thinking, harnessing data and grow their confidence operating in the space between data, experience, and decisions. Meanwhile, from AFOD 1 through RUCTOP, we help define the topics of conversation that our current and future Air Force leaders will explore, integrate, and embody. This allows us to focus on the complexities of diversity, representation, and conflict resolution. Then we can show how to operationalize these ideas into concrete actions in the day-to-day lives of RCAF members. There are 3 things that I'm pitching to you as a way forward. You'll hear more details in the unit engagements that will be popping up. But to get you thinking about it now, the themes are, number 1, take action. Take action to stop any problem you see. Don't let pass a fault. This won't solve every problem we have, but in the ecosystem that is the RCAF, stopping problems as they happen will create a positive cycle. Number 2, take risks. This will not always turn out well, and risks mean failures. But risks also mean innovation and evolution. If we don't risk anything, then we will not gain anything, and we will slowly lose all momentum, stagnate, and perish. I will support you in failure. Those who risk win. And finally, number 3, most importantly, you matter. There was a leaky faucet in the 1CAT washroom that I usually used. Every time I went to the washroom, I watched the leaky faucet and thought of all the bureaucracy that gets involved with fixing things and how it can all seem so ridiculous. I started hitting a wall a few months ago. I pushed hard on some big projects, but the collection of things going wrong at the time was getting to me, and my motivation tanked. I couldn't find the positive perspective. But then one day I went into the washroom and there it was, a new faucet, gleaming, not dripping, and working fine. There was no fanfare, no one got a promotion or an award for fixing the faucet. It was just the thing they did as part of their job. The replacement of this single faucet was the catalyst for me to re-examine all of the positive things in my life. My wife Stassa, my supportive family and friends, my dedicated colleagues, and the unknown person who replaced the leaking faucet. My point here is that every day we have a chance to have that kind of positive effect on others. More often than not, we won't know who we've affected positively, but our actions matter and the world gets better because of it, because of you. The smallest things you do have the potential to catalyze much larger positive outcomes. You matter. Nous sommes tous différents et ce sont ces différences qui nous rendent essentiels pour ce que nous devons faire ensuite. C'est la diversité qui nous donnera les idées requises pour l'évolution de la culture et de la pouvoir des forces aériennes. Alors je vous demande de vous engager avec moi et les uns avec les autres. I don't yet know how to solve all the problems that we will see in the next few years at Barker College. I am therefore asking each of you individually to come to the table, town hall, discussion group, meeting, and team session to help us fix the problems. We will listen if you will speak. That is my initial pitch to you, the members of Barker College. In receiving the handover from Lieutenant Colonel Ash, I was surprised by how much positive has occurred in the last few years. I honestly still don't understand how you translate a training plan into a course, but I'll get to see it at work, with multiple new courses coming online soon. I look at the personnel and training support side of the unit and was thoroughly impressed with how you managed to balance the sudden increase of workload without being able to use your normal workspaces. Some of the home offices that you showed on the college Teams chat just blew my mind. But this kind of positive culture is no accident, and I'd like to thank Lieutenant Colonel Scott Ash for his tireless pursuit of the right thing. We recently had the opportunity to engage an AFOD 5 course together on some tough topics, and it was plain to see how much he cared for the people of the RCAF. Thank you, Scott. You've helped shape this powerhouse team that is coming off a winning year, and I'm honored to be the next Commandant of Barker College. I look forward to seeing what we build in the next few years, but we won't start until Monday after a stat, a short, and a couple of weekend leave days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Everyone, please stand for the departure of our guest of honor. Veuillez-vous lever pour le départ de nos invités d'honneur. You may be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. This concludes our chain of command ceremony for today. On behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Kasterkoff, Lieutenant Colonel Ash, and all of the members of the Royal Canadian Air Force, Wing Commander William G. Barker, VCA Aerospace College, thank you very much for taking the time to join